What is up, everybody? Welcome to ToothAndTailTV, the show where you submit us replays and we cast them. I am Delthius. What's going on, everybody? I hope you had a nice weekend. I got a 3-day weekend, which was awesome. Martin Luther King Day on Monday, so that was really cool. And how's everybody doing, man? I hope you're all doing well. And once again, thanks for the great amount of submissions I received. And as everybody knows, I was going to kind of talk about the patch tonight, but it's like 5 days old at this point, so I don't know if there's a whole lot to say about it. Let's talk a little bit about it anyways. Why not? Is this right? Okay, I think that worked. So GOG Steam crossplay. I think that's awesome. Anybody who's on GOG now doesn't have the crickets chirping when they're looking for that rank match, so super cool. I think there is a little bit about MMR changes. I was thinking about getting somebody like Mishi on to go over some of these changes with me, but it's kind of last minute tonight, unfortunately, so didn't have my stuff together enough for that, but I can comment on them a little bit. Now, the Toad change makes sense. I mean, seems like the damage went down a little bit. I guess that's what Andy intended. The Falcon change seems pretty interesting. I'm not sure on the math on how that's going to affect how many hits per kill on tier 1 units, things like that, but I think most people agreed Falcons were pretty strong, so a little bit, a little bit of damage nerf, a little bit extra HP, not so bad. Board changes are kind of neat, covering a little more flamethrower tiles. I'm not sure if that means that it gets more range. In that case, that could be a pretty big deal. Now, the Fox change I like to see, of course, a little bit of a buff towards the Fox. Takes a little bit less time to execute an attack than it used to. People are saying the patch is still in flux. Yeah, I was worried, man. I had heard Andy a little bit in Discord today talking about some changes he was making, so luckily none of my replays desynced since the past patch launched a few days ago, or 5 days ago to be precise. Mice HP down, I think that's a needed change. Owls in the late game are pretty mad, or pretty crazy, so a little bit of wolf love, not so bad. I think that's going to encourage a little bit more wolf tanking, which you'll see a lot of high-level players do, with their owls or their wolves. They'll let them go up to the front line, soak some damage, makes sense to me. So now, I like that little change a lot, to be honest, because I think that's a really good aspect of the game that kind of promotes micro and promotes good control. Wanting to have your wolf come up a little bit and tank, or maybe it's just a quality of life thing. Wolf's probably not seeing a lot of play compared to some of the other tier 3. I think there is well, Fox actually doesn't see a lot of play either. That's pretty funny, but makes sense. It's not really the best tier 3. It's just really fun to play with, and if you mess up with it, of course, things are no bueno for you. Landmine getting some love, which I think makes a lot of sense. Oh, Wolf is down. Oh, I'm so stupid. Ha! So it's the opposite of what I'm saying. Thanks, chat, for catching me. Yeah, so I guess it was tanking too much, or maybe a little too difficult to kill. Sorry about that. Damn it, that whole tangent I went down about good control, encouraging micro is just all irrelevant, so that's alright. Only made one mistake so far, not too bad, right? Now, I do like the landmine change. Giving it more vision seems really interesting. I'm not sure how much the trigger time is going to affect it, like if lizards aren't going to trigger it or something of that nature. It might let them spread out a little bit more before it triggers. I'm not totally sure. Barbed wire vision increase seems fine. Again, just not picked a whole lot or used a whole lot, so getting them, you can kind of use barbed wire in that regard to kind of spot in different aspects of like the outskirts of your base or something, so that seems really cool. Now the big change, it looks like, is artillery being tier 2 and the cost going down, and sorry guys, lost my train of thought reading the chat. Yeah, you don't want your wolf to tank. No, I agree with that, and it does encourage micro to keep it alive. That makes sense. But no, what I was saying is with owls, like units like owls or wolves that have a lot of HP, or even the boar, you can let him tank some damage and pull him back. Is the point I was trying to make there. But artillery got a lot of changes here. It went down to 120. Food build time is now 20 seconds. So we'll have to see how that plays out. That's a lot of changes there. Now, Tier 3 build and production time increased to 50 seconds. That's a pretty big deal. An extra 10 seconds on any kind of fast Tier 3 timing, which again, I think makes sense. I don't think the design intent is for you to be able to get a fast tier 3. So I agree with that. And the Warren Health, 50 HP for all tiers, seems like a quality of life thing for me more than anything else. I think the big impact with Warren HP is going to be on that tier 1 Warren, right? Because a lot of times you don't really want your tier 2 or tier 3 Warren to be tanking stuff on the front line, but what that is going to allow, actually, you know what? That's going to allow a lot of crazy micro plays, like maybe a mole or some lizard run bys, you know, to snipe that tier 3. So you're increasing the tier 3 Warren by 30 HP, decreasing, right? And then increasing the amount of time it takes to get out that tier 3 unit by 10 seconds. So interesting, man. I think it's going to be a little harder to get out of tier 3, as it should be. And so yeah, so pretty cool. Awesome. Okay. Let's go back to that screen. And what else do I got? So I did get, alright guys, I've been thinking about this for a while. I've been streaming, I've been doing this show almost 4 months now. In like a week it'll be 4 months, so I not enabled, I got affiliate like right off the bat, but I just now enabled subscriptions and bits, because I really don't, I'm not really interested in, I don't know, like I'm just doing this for the community, man, because it's fun to cast games, and I've been watching casting for so long and various esports and stuff, but what I thought about here is taking a large percentage. Now don't subscribe if you can't easily do it, man. Don't worry about it. The only support that I want is follows and people watching live and submitting replays. But I did enable subscriptions and bits. And what I plan to do with that is at least 50% of it, I haven't got the right number yet, I'm actually going to put into TnTTV tournaments. I'm trying to think of a catchy name if anybody's got one, like, oh god, what was that? Something just happened. But, okay. I'm rambling too much here. Basically, what I want to do, as I understand it, with Twitch affiliates, you have to make $100 before it'll pay you. So when I make that first $100 via bits and subscriptions, I'm going to host a $100 TnTTV tournament with $100 in prizes. I thought that was a really cool idea. So 100% of subscriptions and bit donations are going to go towards funding a tournament, and then after that, if it keeps coming in, then it's going to be a large percentage. I'm not sure what, but I'm excited, man. I mean, it is what it is. I'm not really worried about it, but it'd be cool if we do get some subscriptions and bits, and then we can get some tournaments organized that have a cash prize for the maybe top 3 or something like that. So let me know what you guys think of that, man. Oh, thanks for the bits. Is that what it was? I think you know what? I gotta adjust my Streamlabs stuff a little bit. I think that was way too loud when that happened, actually, right? And I actually don't think 4 bits. I should probably disable bits unless it's too often, right? Or what was that? Man, I thought I had this all sorted out. Sorry about that, guys. The original settings is like way too high. Oh man, you know what? Forget it. We'll worry about it later. But yeah, so that's my big announcement, guys. I did just enable subscriptions and bits. I apologize. I'll figure out a way to shout out people at some point. I'm total noob when it comes to stuff like that. And then once I make $100, I'm gonna host a $100 TnTTV tournament. I think that's gonna be a lot of fun. And then after that, if money keeps coming in, then I'll keep throwing it in prize pools. Not necessarily 100% of it, but more than 50. I haven't figured out the number just yet, but let's hop into game number 1, guys, and then maybe after a couple rounds I'll get this all sorted out. So if it sounds like the alerts are going off, I do want to give people shout outs. So without further ado, let's hop into match number 1 here. Let's do it. Okay. Spawning in the 6 o'clock position, we've got Batya. And his opponent in the 12 o'clock, Kiwi. Alright, so let's take a look at these decks. Nothing super crazy, right? You got your Squirrel Lizard set up for Batya. He's got a couple tier 2 and the Badger as his late game unit, but Kiwi opting to go for the additional tier 1 over a tier 3, so I'm expecting a little bit of aggression coming out of Kiwi here. He's not going to be able to translate to the late game as well as Kiwi does, or as well as Batya does, but interesting, Batya takes a very fast campfire right outside the front of his opponent's base, so it looks like he wants to set up a contain. He's floating a little bit of money, so he could probably put down a turret. No, okay, nice. So he's just trying to do some mind games. Let's see if that works for him, because, see, that looks good, right? Like, I really like what Batya did there, but if he's not careful, Kiwi can just come in with a 5-farm double Warren attack, right? And then either way, he's going to be pretty far ahead, because, you know, when you do mind games like this, and Batya did make a nice adjustment, like, he wanted to go straight for 8 farms up front, and then he realized, well, you know, I just feigned my opponent into making units, right? I better have some units prepared for when his attack comes in. Alright, so far so good. Kiwi's just trying to rally, but Batya has lizards, which is kind of a catch-22. The squirrels are better at defending, but lizards go better pound for pound with the squirrels if they can get up on them. So Batya's just got to let these warrens tank a little bit, build up a few lizards, and just run out and contest these squirrels. It'd be a lot easier to defend if he had squirrels of his own here, but this isn't impossible. Now, Kiwi is starting to get some momentum here. He took out a lot of those lizards, only lost like 1 squirrel. So now he's up on top of these warrens, and that is going to be very difficult for Batya now. These pigs will put up a little bit of a fight, but 1 pig goes down, and it's going to be difficult for Batya to get a warren out again. He needs to probably make, if you're in this type of situation, you want to make one of those warrens probably near the back of your base, just in case, you know, that way if they keep pushing in on you, you know, they're not going to constantly be taking them down as you're putting them up. So Kiwi decides that's enough damage, and he did well. I think that was a decent attack, but the problem is that he's just now getting up his last 2 farms. Now, he did kill a farm for Batya, though, and Batya wasn't able to get the other one, so yeah, I think Kiwi's in great shape right here. Once his economy catches up, once those farms finish, and we'll have to see. I mean, he's got the momentum now. We'll have to see where he wants to take the game from this position. He's got a lot of options here. It looks like what he wants to do is just keep the aggression on. You know, went up to 12 squirrels, just kind of waiting for a little bit of production. I like this campfire right here. It makes a lot of sense. He can put up a turret. He's got a nice spot he can retreat to and heal his units up. Gonna try to get over on this turret, and he could if it was unprotected, but these lizards are gonna be able to defend it just fine. And yeah, the turret goes down, but a great engagement there for Batya, and that's exactly what he needed to get back into this game. Man, if only Batya knew about that campfire. That would be even more brutal for Kiwi here. There's not a lot Kiwi can do to defend it at this point, and both these players are kind of forced into a lot of tier 1. And right as I say that, of course, Batya finally decides to throw down a skunk, which is going to be great in this position. Skunks do a great job against squirrels. But Batya missed his window a little bit to take that campfire out. Kiwi has now reproduced his army. And he's got better squirrel numbers, and he's going to push the issue. I'd even like to see a turret on the back of this near that campfire. He's got to be careful, though. You don't want to just straight up engage into lizards like this with squirrels. Like, yeah, he's might win this. Yeah, like the lizards basically won that with inferior numbers there. So, you know, again, man, it's real hard to not throw your value back right at your opponent. And now Batya looks like he's got the upper hand. I mean, he's got his skunks out now. So it should be pretty easy to keep this push going and really threaten these squirrels, man. And as long as he's got good micro with the skunk, wouldn't mind to see that skunk tank a little bit on the front line and pull back, kind of like I was incorrectly talking about earlier with the wolf cages. But you can't just let the squirrel die. Good targeting from Kiwi, but those gas clouds did get out and do a lot of damage on the squirrels. So, man, who is ahead right now? It looks like Kiwi is starting to edge it out. Getting that skunk, I think that was a real game changer there. And plus, this campfire has been cooking for so long now, man. That extra income is really starting to take place. Yeah, he's had that income advantage for a couple minutes now, so that's a pretty big deal, man. And now that we're getting down, now that we just hit the 5-minute mark and people are losing farms, you know, 5 farms over 4 is a bigger deal than 9 farms over 8, and here's the classic lizard run around. Now he is totally out of position. Kiwi could go for a base trade here. Nice, and just target that gristmill. You gotta target the gristmill when you do things like this, because there's no way you're gonna get back in time. I mean, maybe with lizards in it, you know what? He's getting a lot of damage done with those gas clouds, but I think the right move there was definitely just target that gristmill and try to end the game. But hey, this works too, man. Batya is able to come back and just clean up all of Kiwi's army, and that's going to be it. That skunk did a ton of damage while that was all going on, so... What's up, everybody? How's it going? Let me see. Okay. I think everybody's cool. I think everything's good here. Hey, Wizlock cheered, man. Thanks. Thank you so much for that. I'm trying to figure out a way to monitor that, give people shoutouts, but let's hop into match number 2 without further ado. Classic Metal versus Boofy. Okay. Spawning in the 1 o'clock, we've got Boofy with the new arty cannons here. And in the 9 o'clock, Classic Metal. Interesting, so both these guys testing things out a little bit. You know, Classic Metal's got the mines, which have better vision now, which might make them more like wards than a MOBA, you know. I mean, maybe just throw a couple here or there and be able to scout the map with them, and they do more damage now, so we'll have to see how effective they are. I really love seeing like these new changes come into effect, you know, and seeing guys testing them out and seeing if it's good, if it's bad, you know, what they think. And you know, mines have kind of been out of the meta for a while, and I think they're just one of those units, even if they are good, it's going to be hard to justify running them all the time. But it depends on the meta, man. Like if Fox is really popular, you know, just a couple mines can knock that out, no problem, easy peasy. And not a lot to say at this point. You know, Boofy went for the 8 farm opening, and Classic Metal went for a safe Warren, so he's not going to be able to punish it. But this is that's really how you respond, man. I do that exact same thing, guys. If you scout the 8 farm opening from your opponent and you don't feel like trying to punish it with aggression, just sell that Warren that you threw down to be safe and remake it. That'll allow your queued up farm to start. It'll put you in roughly the same spot. I mean, Boofy's economy is going to get out it's going to get out quicker, but not as much faster if Classic Metal didn't do that little trick. So at this point, we're going to have to see where it goes. I mean, I'm expecting 3 to 5 tier 1 Warrens from both players, and then, you know, what the decision making is for there. Do I want to go for a fast expansion? Do I want to get a tier 2? And look at this, man. Classic Metal rushing up that skunk, and so does Boofy. On point, man. I don't believe either player scouted that from their opponent at this point, so yeah. Just now, Boofy's seeing the tier 2 out of his opponent, and actually, no, he didn't. He did not see the tier 2 yet. But it's actually pretty funny. We got basically mirror builds going on here. And overall, man, I think Boofy's got a pretty good spot on this map, right? Like, it's hard to say otherwise. I mean, he's got these nice bases. The only critique on these 3 gristmills that are just kind of given to him here is, you know, it's going to be easy to abuse that ledge or possibly even that one. But not the biggest deal in the world. You gotta feel a little bad for Classic Metal here. He's only got 1 base, and it's not really a natural or a pocket. It's pretty separated from his main, and he's got the campfire, so I think it's might be okay. I mean, if Classic Metal can muster up some kind of 1 base push, he might be in good shape here regardless. You know, it looks like that might be his game plan anyways, with units like, you know, no tier 3, stuff like the mines. Man, just a couple of mines up here on that high ground might be a really good idea. Interested to see where, yeah, there we go. Putting a couple mines down, taking the campfire, and now Boofy is going to see these. Yes. So now you kind of want to wait for your opponent's commander to leave, and you can resell them. It's almost like you could double bluff them, right? Because they're going to expect you to sell them and reposition them, but if you don't, then they just walk over them anyways, right, and die. So let's see where these guys want to go. I mean, Boofy is just getting up a lot of tier 2, man. He actually cut back and sold most of his tier 1, which isn't a bad idea, I guess, as the game is kind of getting a little stalematy here. You know, neither player is showing a lot of early aggression, and pretty well timed second bases coming down for Classic Metal and Boofy here. These Falcons are going to be pretty good, though, man. If Classic Metal's got some good control and can make a lot out of these snakes, he might be able to target them down. But, you know, Falcons with some pigeons, I mean, the pigeons are kind of the snake's bane, right? Because it basically nullifies the poison completely. The heal rate and the poison rate are equal, so now we have to see who's going to be more greedy. It looks like Classic Metal is ready to throw down a good amount of farms. He didn't go crazy. let's see what Boofy does. A little safer. But man, Boofy's getting up to 8 Falcons here. That is going to be absolutely nuts. And if Classic Metal doesn't move out and just lets Boofy sit around and get up this Skunk Falcon army comp, and then he gets a boar in there and moves out when he decides he's ready, I'm going to be worried for Classic Metal, man. I mean, the Falcon just did get some changes. I mean, it is a nerf because Falcon's damage is really what you want them for, but they got a little bit of HP in the process, so a little give and take there. But I'm sure the Falcons are still pretty strong, so. Classic Metal decides now's the time. He starts positioning in. One snake is just getting bopped right off the bat, and he's going to hard engage here. And again, with all that skunk gas, with all those Falcons, it's going to be difficult. And yeah, the poison is doing a lot of work here, actually. So a lot of the tier 2 is going to fall for Boofy as well, but overall, Boofy takes the engagement, and he's got the pigeons to heal up and make sure none of that lingering poison is going to take effect, so. Damn, man. That skunk gas not only did a lot of work to the tier 1, but it helped chip down the snakes a little bit too for the Falcons, so. In Classic Metal, with his deck composition here, doesn't have anywhere else to go. He doesn't have Falcons, which scale really well into the late game. You know, he doesn't have a tier 3 unit, so he's just going to have to try to muscle up another army of similar composition and try again against his opponent. But really, the tier 3 hasn't come into play at all this game, so I'm not sure why I keep harking on it. But Boofy does have the option for that boar, man, and Classic Metal doesn't have Falcons or anything like that, and I love this move out of Classic Metal, by the way. He's got to plant his flag out here at the map, and it's really unfortunate for him that there's no ramp. I mean, the closest ramp to get around to that base is right there, so it's going to be difficult to defend that, and Boofy should scout it out immediately. Yeah, he's aware of it, so he's just going to move his Falcons over and basically take out that 60 food for free. Damn, man, Classic Metal going up to 12 snakes. It makes sense. I mean, Boofy literally has no tier 1. This game is crazy, man. Like, Boofy's like, you know, screw tier 1. I'm going to get some skunks to kill your tier 1, and then I'm going to get Falcons to kill everything else. And so far, it's been working. I think Classic Metal went a little crazy on all the tier 2 warrants here. Maybe a couple more than he could afford. No big deal. His snakes are starting to produce, but it's going to take a while. And yeah, it's just so hard if you're Classic Metal in this position, man. Like, I feel really under pressure regardless. Like, he lost that first big fight, and then he doesn't really have the option to take this to a late game or try to macro here. You know, Boofy's got these other 2 bases, you know, basically given to him on his side of the map. And, you know, if he manages to take them, that's going to be lights out. So Classic Metal's been pretty vigilant on keeping an eye on those gristmills. Now, if Boofy never feels comfortable enough to be able to take those, it's not going to matter so much, right? But let's see. The big engagement comes out, man. That's a lot of snakes, but I kind of have my money on the Falcons here. Let's see if Classic Metal can prove otherwise. Getting a nice concave. But man, all that just immediate damage from the Falcon. But that is a ton of poison. Oh, Classic Metal! With the odds against... Damn, man, that is so much poison. And Classic Metal's able to come in here and just run over his opponent. Man, I really underestimated the snakes here, man. That was insane. That's awesome. And that's going to be it. I mean, Classic Metal did a great job this game, really dealing with the hand he was dealt. You know, he kept an eye on those 3rd and 4th bases of his opponent. He tried to keep enough pressure on to where he never felt comfortable to get to the 3rd base. And these snakes, man, just completely rolled over the Falcons of his opponent, so. It was very good micro. He got a great concave going into that fight. Okay. Alright, guys, so let me announce again, because I have a little better viewership than when I first did, but I did finally decide to start subscriptions and bits on this channel. I had been against it for a while, but I decided it would be a cool way to try to organize some cash tournaments. So, to my understanding, you have to make $100 before Twitch will pay you, you know, transfer money to my PayPal account. So whenever that happens, if it does happen, I want to do a TnTTV Swag Showdown is the best name I've got for it right now, but basically just give all that money back to the competitive scene in the form of prize pools. Maybe, not just all to first place, so, at least top 3 or top 4 will get something. But that's what I decided, man, so I'm looking forward to that. If guys do give me subscriptions and bits, I'm going to host a cash tournament, which is going to be awesome. And then I will continue to do so afterwards. It won't be all of it, but it'll be most of it. I haven't figured out an exact number yet, but so I'm excited for that, man. I think that's a cool way to deal with subscriptions, because I have had several people hit me up like, man, just can I please subscribe? Let me give you my Twitch Prime or Amazon Prime or whatever. So it's there now if you guys want. I'm not gonna promote it a lot or do anything, crazy with donations and stuff, but I will give people shout outs. I'm probably not even going to really mention it much after tonight, to be honest. But I will reiterate a couple times tonight so everybody knows. I'm trying to put together a cash tournament, $100 in the prize pool, once I get donation money, subscription money paid to me. So with that, let us go to game number 4 here, a 2v2 match. Okay, spawning, it looks like red and yellow should be together here, right? Yeah, we've got Onyx and Ramako over here in the northwest of the map, and their opponents split out pretty far. We've got Int and Shigal. Now, is this... Okay, this is a 2v2, because, man, that spawn position is just so far away, it had me second guessing. Like, that's going to be rough for Int and Shao2, I guess I'll call him. That looks like it's... It's the game's language, man. Why am I blanking? Viashal, right? Somebody knows what that is. Didn't people kind of figure it out eventually? Like, translations for the language? I don't know, man. That's what it looks like to me, but nonetheless, nothing crazy so far. None of these guys are doing anything like mole rushing or 4-farm, double warren aggression. So we'll have to see what these guys decide to do in the mid-game, but man, blue and green over here are so split up. That's insane, man. I feel bad for them, and the map isn't that great for them either, to be honest. I mean, they've got, obviously this gristmill to take. That campfire should be pretty easy, but they're going to have to muscle out here, really just for both players to get a natural. I mean, these 3 bases are going to be very hard for either team to take, and when you look at Onyx and Ramako, they've got this base up here in the top, a couple campfires, gristmills. I mean, they've got all kinds of stuff to their name. 3 gristmills and 2 campfires are easily theirs. I would say these 3 campfires are contestable, so not really giving them to either player outright. And then just 1 gristmill and 1 campfire for a blue and green protagonist here. So I wonder how they're going to be able to get something done in this game. And it might not even get to that phase, right? Like, we might just see some crazy aggression in the early game and a tap out before additional gristmills really even matter. And speaking of which, I mean, all players are going for a lot of tier 1, and I think you kind of have to do that in 2v2s to be safe, First attacks of the game are starting to be sent out. Nice. Shao2 over here identified that campfire is going to be able to get over here and kill it. He needs to get out right now. Oh no, his poor lizards. 2 go down. And 3 of them live to tell the tale, but now he's in a 2v1 situation, and blue is not in position to help his friend, and this is why it hurts being so spread out in a 2v2 like this, man. And Onyx and Ramako really capitalizing on that with a lot of early game lizard aggression, and took a really favorable engagement there. I mean, they should feel pretty comfortable to do whatever the hell they want at this point, and it looks like what Onyx wants to do is get out that wolf. And Wolf and Fox. All right, he's taking a play out of Print F's book here. And, hey, man, if he can get away with it, it's going to be absolutely barbaric. And it doesn't look like after that engagement, blue and green are really going to have any answer for it. I mean, green is trying to sneak out a fast tier 3 of his own in the form of a badger, but Ramako coming in to try again. Blue really needs some good toad engagements here, but his commander was out of position. Not really a lot done there, no harm, no foul. Looks like yellow did get a warren off blue. A little bit of damage is good, but and red and yellow both easily have expansions, and now red's starting to saturate his. I'd like to see yellow throw down just a couple on his base at the very least, you know. At least one or two. And the clock's ticking on this tier 3, man. Onyx did decide to sell off the wolf and just get out the fox a little faster while staying safe with a lot of tier 1. And also being able to afford his expansion a little bit. So, man, the real story of this game is going to be this fox, I feel like, you know. The fox did get a little bit of changes. It's going to fire a little faster here. And these guys got to be careful. Some good toad hits from blue. Did detonate, but 1v2 situation, man. Again, and not only a 1v2, but a 1v2 we're already behind from a previous engagement. And I like the idea to try to capitalize on this. He's trying to just snipe yellow here, and he's gonna get it, but he doesn't knock him out of the game, and now he's gonna be left with no army. Man, that feels bad, because if Xiao Tzu just knocked Ramako out, right? Like, that would have been crazy. But Ramako did already have an expansion. Throws down a couple farms and gets that going. And we're about to be at the 5-minute mark here, which is where I'm going to get really worried for blue and green, because they just don't have... They gotta claim this area of the map. And the Badger is out, the Fox is out. Looks like we have a little bit of split engagements going on. Blue backs up, but again, man, green is going to be over here in a 1v2 situation. The Badger is here to help him out. There's not any pigeons, though, and just the Badger by itself against that many lizards, I mean, it's going to take a lot of units with it, but it does eventually go down, and that is going to be rough. Hey, what's up, Mishi? How's it going, man? Damn, and the barbed wire is coming out for Onyx. Let me see if I can tell the difference. That's a pretty good amount of vision. I don't really have a lot to compare it to, because I've never really used barbed wire a ton, unless I'm just messing around. But, you know, it's a fair amount of vision. I don't mind it. Ramako did suffer a lot of losses earlier, but, man, the trades that they've been getting in the early game were just so damn good. Not to mention that Badger going down. I still feel like red and yellow are in good shape, and yeah, this is the move you gotta make at this point, man. Xiao Tu trying to push over here to these 3 gristmills. They've gotta claim these. Really just to stay toe-to-toe with their opponents here. Nice position on that balloon out of Ramako, being protected by all the barbed wire. And I like to see a little bit more activity out of the Fox, man. For it to really get the most value, you got to be constantly microing with it. But it is rough because the enemy has a lot of lizards. And there's also this high ground over here that's difficult to run up with your Fox into, you know. The Fox is doing just fine defending here and being safe. You know, it's not so bad. It's going to get a couple kills on tier 2 units here, too. And that's always great, so. Onyx going for Fox number 2 over the Wolf. And what else? Not a ton is going on. Ramako isn't really contributing right now, but he's still alive. But Onyx is in just such a commanding spot here, man. You know, that's perfectly fine. He's carrying the team, but really, man, look at Ramako's economy, though. I mean, he's got 2 gristmills. He's going to be able to skyrocket up in farms if he sees fit, you know. He doesn't have anything like an owl to really take advantage of all that income. But once he decides to start building units again, he's going to be able to afford quite a bit. And just a few balloons here, they're really helping zone for his team. This is a very nice World War I setup that red and yellow have developed for themselves here. And let's go ×2 a little bit. It looks like we're getting into a Cold War here somewhat as these guys gear up. The owl is coming out for Int. But here we go. Now that 2 foxes are out, Onyx decides to move out and start the harassment. Getting a lot of work done right now so far, but the problem is with 2 foxes, a lot of times you could waste damage if they both target. You know, it only takes like 1 shot to kill a pig, for example, so that second shot's getting wasted. The exception to that would be a tier 2 unit or a tier 3 unit that doesn't get one-shotted by the fox, but really like to see that wolf with it, man. Wolf and fox is just absolutely bananas. But yeah, these guys are just kind of gearing up. I mean, red and yellow do have the majority of the map split in their favor. So it's really on blue and green here to get something done. And 37 pieces of barbed wire out, man. I mean, these guys are living large. And, you know, I don't really blame them. They don't have to do a bunch more, but just deny these second 2 bases from their opponent. Hell, Red's even trying to take this base, so... Green prevents that from happening, and Blue's on his way. Lots of Toads here. Red's got 30 Lizards, so if we get some good Toad hits, that could be huge. Get some pretty damn good ones. All the Lizards just melting for Onyx here. And Green and Blue are going to be able to stand their ground, and I think they're going to be able to deny this base here from Onyx. That Owl just really needs to stay alive, man. You gotta be careful. You know, Int's really gotta start building up a strong Owl count here to stay in this game, but the Foxes, ooh, just 3 HP remaining on that Owl. Almost enough from a double Fox to snipe it down. But man, Onyx is starting to run dry. You know, where else is he gonna expand? He really needed that base. I mean, his expansion is on its way out, you know, and he's got so many damn Lizards that he's just trading ineffectively here. The Fox goes down. Oh my god, are Blue and Green gonna win this game? They get a good concave with their army. They're trying to be careful about not fighting in the skunk gas here. But lots of barbed wire, lots of turrets, and another balloon coming down is gonna make this very difficult. Onyx really needs to sell one of these Fox Warrens, man. The 2 Fox strategy, you're not going to have enough money for it now, man. Just with a few farms left. He does have that campfire, though. And Ramako's really the one with the income here, and he needs to spend it, man. He's floating a lot of money that his team really, really needs. He needs to get some snakes out, or really anything. As we're starting to get to this clutch, scrappy phase of the game where these last few gristmills are being heavily contested. You know, Blue's got a good economy, Green's got a good economy here, and Onyx, you know, since he had such a good economy earlier on, you know, he's probably lost, like, I think you could easily say, you know, 60 to 100 Lizards this game, man. And that's a lot, you know, constantly being rebuilt. Fox is out, and if Red and Yellow can push him back just a little bit, get these turrets down, the balloon is down, it's gonna let Onyx think about taking that Warren again. Damn, man. What crazy, we've had some crazy matches tonight. Damn, I can't believe Onyx and Ramako are able to get this position. And Ramako's really banking here, man. He's got to just spend some money. You know, that's my biggest advice, man. Like, rule number 1 is spend money. I wonder what he's saving it all up for. I'm really interested to see. Yes, even some snakes, whatever. Like, it doesn't really, like, having anything is better than floating a bunch of money, right? And I don't want to pick on him too hard or anything like that, but does decide to finally spend it. It was actually really smart from Ramako to not spend all of it, right? Because he's going to have to finance those 8 snakes that he just made, so saving some money for that as well. Red and Yellow got him in a good choke here. You know, with the skunk glass, with the Fox, with the turrets. Man, Shao 2 is being very aggressive with this expansion. He even managed to sneak this one out during all that chaos, and it really needs it. And Int, man, Int just cannot expand any more of this game. He's really not got any options available to him, unfortunately. And maybe this last-ditch effort, this nice little hold from Red and Yellow is gonna be enough. Red is floating a lot of money in that bar. Damn, one of those Foxes goes down. Onyx really can't afford to lose. He needs to sell that tier 3 Warren. Yeah, he needs to sell some of this barbed wire off. And really focus his effort on keeping this last base alive here. The balloon does get up for Ramako. That's going to be a huge boon for his team. Blue's going to try to come in here and attack, but he did so by himself, and he gets ran over. It's starting to look like to me Onyx and Ramako are going to be able to seal the deal here. You know, great skunk gas just covering the whole field out of Ramako here. And man, what a scrappy game. I feel like Red and Yellow's got to take it from here, man. Yeah, Blue and Green's army value has just really gone down the dumps as they're starting to get mined out. I think Shao 2 played phenomenally, really muscling and fighting, you know, for these contestable gristmills out in the middle, but that's going to be it. Int is going to starve out, and Shao 2 is going to tap out. Okay. Yeah, what's the phone says? Robico, how dare you have fun instead of play it optimally? I know, man. That's why I don't like to heart too much when people are floating money. Unless I know it's guys that are super tryhards like Mishi or something. I'll yell at Mishi for floating money. But let's get into some bonkage, guys, here. Game number 5, Bonk vs. Ciramore. Let's do it. Alright, where am I going? Here we go. Spawning in the 9 o'clock, we've got Ciramore. Hope I'm saying that right. And in the 5 o'clock, his opponent, Bonk. Bonk is ready to go, man. Let's see. He's got the moles. Let's see if he decides to get that mole action on. Doesn't have to, certainly. You know, he could sell this farm, go mole, or just do a... Looks like he wants to do a mole attack without selling the farm. Maybe just come in with a little bit of a delayed mole, which could work out for him, man. Ciramore is going up to 8 farms, so... Looks like Bonk wanted to get a read on that. Now he sees it, and he's like, okay, you went really, really greedy. So I'm going to throw a couple moles in your face and see if I can get some damage on here. And I don't believe Ciramore... He's got to be aware now, and here he comes trying to target down the unfinished farm. Let's see some good mole micro here. Pretty good from Bonk. Manages to get a farm. Unfortunately, that weakened mole is going to lead the charge here. Oh my god, but it's staying alive. Wow. What a great mole rush. I think DJ Soak would be proud. Bonk does lose a mole, but he killed, what, 3 farms and a turret there, so I'll take that trade any day of the week, and now Bonk comes back home to spend his money. Looks like he wants to follow up with some aggression, and yeah, he does want to wait for that mole to heal all the way before selling it so he gets the full refund. And I think Bonk feels pretty comfortable from here, right? I mean, he's gonna finance a little squirrel attack here, then on the back end of it he can take the last couple farms and be in pretty good shape. Oh no, I skipped a game. Thanks for telling me. And thanks for the compliment, Valeris. I appreciate it. Sorry, I'm really bad about keeping up with chat while I'm casting. But yeah, I'd like to see Bonk. I mean, Bonk made all these squirrels, man. He's got to go. Like that's my only critique. That was a fantastic mole attack. But if you're not planning, like, he should have hit a timing where his opponent was going to have much less squirrels than him. And he might actually get lucky because Ciramore decided to sell his Tier 1 Warrens and reposition them. So he doesn't have a whole lot right now, but the reason I say that is because Bonk could have taken his 8 farms earlier, right? And then still got out 6 squirrels, about at this time anyways. So you want to think about stuff like that. Printf made a spreadsheet that I thought was a good resource that showed you the difference in, like, all the different farm timings, man. And getting out 8 farms, it really nets you a lot of extra money in the early game, so... Does manage to keep the aggression on here and takes more favorable trades. Getting another pig and, you know, some squirrel trades that went fine for him, so... Oh, I skipped Frog's game. Okay. Oh yeah, that's why you notice what's a fun phone, because you're in that game. I thought you were just trying to help me out, man. Man, so Bonk looks like he wants to do more aggression, and I was wondering why he was saving up his money, and it looks like he wanted to try to do a mole follow-up attack here. But he doesn't really need to, man. I'd really like to see Bonk take his last farm, maybe take this campfire, and approach the mid-game here. Like, you gotta get that farm, man. There you go. And yeah, like, take a gristmill, sure. Now, the other option there, of course, is to just run over your opponent with army, which he certainly can do and still can, you know. But you don't want to give away a really strong advantage you had in the early game by kind of slacking on your income, right? As you can see, Ciramore is actually in the income lead right now, and I mean, Bonk's killed like 4 farms, man, so it really highlights, you know, getting the damage done, coming back, and getting your own economy nice and saturated up. But I think Bonk's still in great shape here, and he can even afford to take a couple of these farms. He's got momentum, man, and as the game progresses, it's going to be less and less. So I imagine Bonk's probably just, yeah, he's waiting on his tier 2, and he's ready to move out now. Another good thing as well is to throw down a couple Squirrel Warrens as you're moving out if you have the money, because it'll just, you know, keep reinforcements coming. I feel like I'm being too critical tonight, man. I'm sorry, guys. But yeah, Bonk's coming in here, getting some good gas clouds down, but over the pigs more so than where the squirrels are really standing. The Falcon's giving a nice high ground vision, and I think Bonk is approaching this pretty well. He's got to be careful not to overextend. You don't want to lose that skunk here. You need to get out without taking any more damage to these tier 2, but take some decent losses, and that was a very good hold from Ciramor. You know, he took out a couple of Bonk's tier 2, and did fairly well there, with all things considered. But the real problem here is the income disparity, right? Because Bonk has the second base nice and developed here. He's even getting a third, mainly, you know, just for positioning and territory. But I would feel comfortable if I was Bonk throwing down a couple more farms there, yeah. And Ciramor doesn't, man. Ciramor's got the campfire, but he doesn't have a second base. And if Bonk stays vigilant this game, he should be able to shut down any second base attempt that comes out of his opponent here. Ciramor going really all in with this attack, but Bonk is out of position, and Ciramor gets right on top of everything that is Bonk, and is going to snipe this Gristmill. That's a big deal. If he can manage to get his army out of here alive, that would be huge, but instead he's going to take the engagement, which Bonk is going to clean up. That's why I was saying he went pretty all in there, because, you know, Bonk's army, man, like, yeah, Ciramor got the damage done, but he traded his whole army for it. And that Gristmill actually doesn't even really matter so much anymore. I mean, Bonk retakes it, but if I was him, yeah, I'd just cancel it. I mean, these farms don't have a whole lot of money left anyways. You know, he's got a second base established, and I think what Ciramor was really hoping there was that was Bonk's only Gristmill, right? And he was going to go in there and just bop him and knock him out of the game. But, you know, Bonk had his second base up and running, which should allow him to get in a good economic lead. But damn, look how much economic damage Ciramor did with that attack. So, I mean, Bonk's got a couple tier 2 up on his opponent. He's got the superior squirrel count here. And I don't mind this move at all from Ciramor, to be honest. I mean, Ciramor is in a bad spot. He's taken bad engagements a few times this game. So he's got to take a risk here. And taking a risk, like, you know, really saturating up a base, and you're just crossing your fingers like, well, I hope my opponent, you know, doesn't just come in and kill me right now for the next minute or two. You know, I mean, you're kind of dead anyways in a way, right? So you might as well. I mean, if Bonk does not attack, it's going to give Ciramor an opportunity to get back into this game. Yeah, this is exactly what Ciramor needs, man. Bonk is not attacking. Oh, I love this little mole play over here in the corner. Just going to knock out that Gristmill real quick. That's great, but it's hard to tell these things, guys. Like, it's really easy. That's really why I like scouting all game long, and not even just scouting where your opponent took expansions, but also like scoping out their army is so damn important, man. Because you can miss these spikes where you're way ahead and you're not sure of it. You know, you don't get this army graph in the game. You don't get vision of everything, right? The only vision you get is what you scout. So Bonk is playing safe, which is perfectly fine, but he did have, and he still kind of does, a large window to go in and just knock his opponent out, man. And that's one thing that's kind of cool about Chameleons too, right? Like, you don't know that army value's there, but Bonk's seen Chameleons already, so you should be aware. And it looks like Bonk's thinking about moving out now, and he's going to come in and scout, but these turrets might just kind of make him scared, which is a great... I love the mind game aspect of defensive structures, you know? Like, just a couple turrets might deter your opponent from attacking in when they have the upper hand. But there's nothing wrong with playing it slow, and that's what Bonk's doing. I mean, he's getting an owl, you know, and he's got plenty of money. He's got plenty of map control here to get up to another base or to saturate these up even more. It's going to be hard for Ciramor to get onto a 3-base economy, you know. The rest of these Gristmills kind of favor Bonk pretty hard. Obviously, this one would be the best bet, but it's right within earshot of Bonk's base, and plus it's got the high ground all outside it, so that's going to be difficult. So I think Ciramor's doing the right thing here, like geared up for one more big push to see where it goes. So let's fast forward a little bit as these guys are kind of chilling and getting the last pieces of the army that they're looking for. Looks like, yeah, Ciramor's got to plant his flag, man. He's got to put his foot down on this map and claim this Gristmill, or he's never going to get up to a 3-base economy. And Bonk's just going to be able to replenish his army so much faster than Ciramor here. And Bonk's got to scout this, man. He's got to sniff it out and see what's going on. Siramar does have turrets, and that's always the most tense moment for me, man, when I'm taking a gristmill like this, and I've got turrets, so I'm just like, oh god, don't scout me until my turrets come up, you know? And Siramar gets it off, man. Bonk trying to do some sort of harassment with his owl, but his owl's way out of position here. He was not aware of Siramar, and if Siramar can get in here and kill this owl, that's going to be exactly what he needs to get back into this game, and he does get it. And decides to take the engagement as well. Let's see if Siramar is going to have enough. That's a lot of Falcons, man. The Falcons are beefier. Damn. That's exactly what Siramar needed. And now we can feel comfortable getting a couple farms up on this third base. I'd like to see him sell off maybe one Falcon Warren, maybe a Chameleon Warren, keep that production going, having some money to get his third base up and running. But that's exciting, man. I thought for sure Bonk had this game, and maybe he still does, I don't know. But Siramar's got a great front line here with these turrets. And now he's applying direct pressure to Bonk's third base here. Here we go, he's gonna think he has enough at this point. He needs I would like to see him leapfrog these turrets a little more, just like right to that edge of the territory, man. And that's really what he wants. He's got to fight underneath these turrets. You know, Bonk did just get bopped upon, but Bonk's got a good economy and was able to get back up to speed fairly quickly here. Really, I mean, income, to be honest, it looks like it's favoring Siramar a little bit, so you just got to be careful. It's easy to get, you know, red in the eyes, man, and try to go all edge. So Siramar just overextended a little bit, trying to deal damage to Bonk's base, and if Bonk is able to clean this army up and deny that third, it's going to be very difficult for Siramar. He's had that second in the corner for a long time. It's going to farm out here shortly. Yeah, that's what Bonk needed to stay into this game, man. Now Siramar's got the clock ticking on him, and as you can see, these farms are now starting to mine out here. And Siramar's really just got one more last-ditch effort again, man. He's got to sell one of those Tier 2 Warrens. Anytime it's a really scrappy game like this and your production's in the red, man, you got to sell something off. I know it sucks to do it, but that's actually, like, when I was laddering and I was starting to get, like, a little bit into the quote-unquote higher-level play, you know, I was noticing that was a big decider in a lot of the matchups I was going against. You know, after we trade armies, you know, the player goes back and sells off, you know, a couple Tier 1 Warrens, a Tier 2 Warren, you know, just to keep that production going. Oftentimes, you know, remaxes, quote-unquote, faster and can take the next engagement much more effectively, so. This game has been so back and forth. But I think that really was the nail in the coffin when Bonk denied that third base from Siramar here. And Bonk's living large, man. I mean, he could take this base easily. He just took this campfire. Siramar stays in the game with a campfire. But he's out, man. He's got no economy. And his army is pretty already kind of smaller than Bonk's, right? Not by a whole lot, but again, he's going to do this all-in-y type move and go after some of the infrastructure of his opponent, but he's not going to be able to get out from this position. You're basically saying, all right, man, we're going to take a fight here, and Bonk should have plenty to roll over his opponent. Damn, I really thought when Siramar got that owl, he was going to take the game. That should be it. Siramar taps out, and our favorite Bonker wins the match. How's it going, everybody? Good to see you all hanging out with me, and thank you so much, everybody, for the replays. And okay, so if you have some now, I'm pretty sure I always do. I feel like I do a good job. I don't want to pat myself on the back too hard, but I really do try to make sure I hit everybody who's submitted. So if you have submitted to me, you know what? I think there was a guy, Sun Tzu, who submitted some games from the last patch. But if you did submit recently and it was before the new patch, I'm not going to be able to get to those games, and it sucks because I had such a wonderful archive of like 50 to 100 extra replays, man. I could just pull out of the bag in case I had a slow week or something. But those are all gone now. I gotta trash all those, unfortunately. So get to work sending me new replays, guys, and give me plenty of juice for Thursday night show. I'm liking the patch so far. I haven't seen too much of it yet. But man, yeah, I skipped game 3 pretty hard, man. I went to game 4 and 5. You almost got lucky here, Frog, but we are going to hop into game number 3, and let's check it out. Spawning in the 9 o'clock, we've got Frog. And kind of in the middle of the map, his opponent, What is a Phone? Alright, so let's see what these guys are up to. Frog has opted to take the mole, just to have it. You can do a couple different builds with it. You can do the 4-farm mole rush, or you can do the 5-farm feign rush, which I think is better. Because as you can see, you're going to get over when you have 2 moles anyways, and you really want to do a mole attack with 2 moles for the most part. But What's a Phone was vigilant with the scouting. That's why you really got to do that follow-up scout, you know, before you scout the rest of the map. Like, you got to scout your opponent, and then you got to scout him again, because Frog tried to get some mind games going on. What's a Phone doesn't have his own moles or a turret, so it's difficult for him to hold. But he does trade 1 for 1 here, which isn't going to be terrible for What's a Phone. I guess I would favor the mole player because that's lost mining time as well for that 60 food investment. But now What's a Phone has the follow-up attack though. You kind of want to wait for like 3 lizards. Yeah, Frog already trying to sell some stuff off in advance of this, but gonna get this lizard warren, which is gonna be huge. He's got to be careful though. This one lizard, there it goes. Yeah, you want to make sure you target that lizard. And Frog taking some damages there, but he does stabilize. He's not knocked out of the game or anything like that, so really aggressive, scrappy game so far. I wonder if, yeah, you're going to maybe sell a tier 1 Warren and try to macro up, or maybe these guys are just respecting each other a little too much to do something like that. You know, just in case your opponent does not, right? You don't want to be caught 6 lizards versus 3. Gotta be careful, man. Defender's advantage is going to help Frog stabilize. Now it's going to come down to who's going to be more greedy. Excuse me. Looks like they're in pretty close positions with one another. It's hard to say who's really in the lead at this point. I would say maybe What's a Phone? I mean, those are building. Is this a cute farm? Yeah. They're about even, but I would say What's a Phone's a little ahead for sure. Once that farm finishes up, should finish up faster. But Frog is getting some good engagements right there, man. Just stealing a couple lizards for free, which matters a lot, especially when you're in this scrappy kind of early game without good economies, right? Like, just a lizard or 2 doesn't seem like much, but it definitely adds up, man. And it's gonna give Frog an actually... looks like he's a little bit ahead. I mean, What's a Phone just has to keep making lizards here. He just now gets to throw down his 8th farm. So yeah, Frog appears to be actually a decent amount ahead. It looks like, you know, roughly 120 food, so he's gonna follow up this aggression and get some toads in the mix here. Now, What's a Phone is going for the squirrels, so it'll be easier for him to defend. But the real story here is what these guys' next move is, and I think the campfire is a good option to try to eke your way back in. It's not even really that risky, especially when it's in a position like that. So good decision for sure. What's Phone's just gonna check it out. And he realizes Frog is going hard, man. He's just building a bunch of tier 1, and he's gonna come right for his face. It doesn't have turrets or anything like that. And Frog basically doing the same thing there, trying to scout out what structures his opponent has, maybe the size of their army. And we'll have to see where this goes for here. Tier 2 choices are now out. They actually have these same tier 2. Excuse me. But Frog opting for the ferret first, while What's a Phone is taking the falcon. And they're going to serve different purposes. I mean, the ferret's going to be obviously a sieging unit. Is going to be used to try to bait What's a Phone out of his nice defender's advantage into the middle of the field. Where the falcon's just going to add a lot of value and damage to the overall composition What's a Phone's got here. So get a second campfire, I don't mind it. And Frog took a reasonable gristmill, but the real story here is the fox is coming out. And What's a Phone does have lizards, which are a good way to try to answer the fox, but no defensive structures is going to be rough, and the siege is now upon us. Backs out for now. Yeah, it's going to be difficult for What's a Phone to hold here. He doesn't have an answer to the ferret poking. You know, he doesn't have an answer to the fox. Now, granted, the fox isn't out yet, but this is just free damage. What's a Phone's taking, and his commander's out of position to try to micro, which is always the worst, man. It's the worst feeling in the world when you run around and he's taking this gristmill down here. It's like, oh, you can't be in two places at once, right? So Frog getting some good damage done there, and just chipping away at his opponent, making sure he can finance the fox, which is now coming out, but What's a Phone is going for a great timing here. Frog has 360 food invested into a fox that is doing nothing right now as it is not yet built. And What's a Phone takes a phenomenal engagement, and he's going to press the issue here, get on top of the infrastructure of his opponent. He's got to be careful not to overextend, but he's got a lot of momentum. I don't think I think he's okay, and if he gets his gristmill, that's definitely going to be huge. Gonna go down, but that one ferret in the back is getting some nice damage done for Frog in the meantime. And now both these players' economy's hurting, but What's a Phone's got the two campfires. He's got a gristmill where he can start throwing down a couple farms. And really, Frog has just got to get so much value done with the fox, which is now out, ready to rock and roll. Let's see it happen, Frog. Here it comes. Always difficult to micro the fox in the water, and it gets lizards. Yeah, What's a Phone is very smartly. You gotta kind of hard engage onto stuff like this, man. You can't just let Frog sit back and poke you to death. Once you've identified pokey units from your enemy, you just gotta get on top of them. And nice target fire from What's a Phone on top of the fog there, and on top of the fox there, and Frog taps out. Okay, yeah, sorry I skipped that one, guys. Where are we at now? Game number 6. Sweet deal. Let's hop into it. Okay, spawning in the 1 o'clock position, we've got Mishi. And in the 9 o'clock, his opponent, Heavyset. Now, Heavyset likes to do aggressive, kind of turret push type builds, so you always got to keep your eye out on players that have a reputation like that. Typically, if you're not on top of your scouting, he's the kind of guy who will take a gristmill next to you, throw down a couple turrets, and try to start containing you right off the bat, but doesn't look like that's what he's got in store this game. Instead, just going for a nice economic opening, and wonder what Mishi thinks about this patch. And Mishi, interesting, picking up the moles just for that option, for that early game aggression, for the defense in the mid game, for better flank attacks, like against a campfire that's out by itself, things of that nature. And he's got that Falcon Owl late game composition that is super scary, man. So Heavyset 69, I feel like, has a much stronger mid game here. He's got a lot of tier 2 that combined together, especially with a wolf backing him up, is going to be very difficult. But if Mishi can kind of hang on and turtle up and get to that Owl Falcon composition, that's really, I mean, you're not getting much better than that, man. That is like the ideal late game composition. And nice delayed mole aggression here. That's going to be very annoying for Heavyset. He's going to have to sell that Warren, and Mishi actually hasn't even taken a Warren this game yet. And here we go. Mole comes in, gets the turret. It's going to die on the way out. But just the mind games, just the pressure. It's going to give Mishi some breathing room here, man. And dude, if you start taking farms, what is this, Mishi? This is insane. All right, Mishi. Going up to 11 farms before a tier 1 Warren. There he goes. This is interesting, man. If he gets away with it, which it looks like he will, that mole aggression on the front is giving him a lot of breathing room. And Heavyset's going to identify what's going on here. But Heavyset's going for something sneaky himself with a fast wolf. So he didn't invest in like a really quick ferret or something to immediately break this. So it's going to give Mishi some time to get his act together here and muster up some forces. He's got 2 turrets out, which is very formidable. You know, 1 turret can get ran over by a handful of squirrels very easily, but 2 turrets, man. And that was very smart for Mishi as well, to sell off that 2nd turret once that attack, you know, backed off and put that money somewhere else. Turrets build pretty quickly, so if he feels like he's going to get attacked, he can just build another one if he wants. Damn, man, and going up to 13 farms before the 3-minute mark here, and just getting a lot of tier 1 to be nice and safe. And even sells off that last turret now that he's kind of feels like, okay, now I've passed that point of risk and I'm starting to transition into reward. So I don't feel, you know, I don't feel threatened anymore. I don't feel like I need turrets. I've got a good enough army, and I'm okay. Now, Heavyset does a good response here. He went for the campfire, which is already great, but he takes his own gristmill, more reasonably timed, and Heavyset could have punished this much harder if he kind of rolled the dice a bit poorly there with the fast wolf idea. You know, if he would have got out a fast ferret, he might have been able to break Mishi, since Mishi invested so much into that 2nd base, you know, right at the beginning. So Mishi got away with it, man. He's going up to 16 farms, which is going to finance that Owl Falcon army very nicely. I wouldn't even be surprised to see Mishi want to take a 3rd base here to just go even crazier with this economy, but here we go. Heavyset's moving out. He's got the wolf, but Mishi's got a lot of tier 1 and isn't going to be able to just run over this army from his opponent. Lizards are pretty good against squirrels, and man, not even close. Mishi just dominates that force. Not able to get the wolf on the back, but damn, man. So Mishi can do whatever he wants to at this point, and what I think he wants to do is start working up towards that tier 2 and tier 3 army. This is a really cool playstyle, man. Just being very, very, like, doing an early attack to put your opponent in a weird mental state, right? And then being incredibly greedy, you know, getting up a big, enormous 24 tier 1 units, rather. And then slowly starting to get to that tier 2, tier 3. He didn't rush straight up to Owl or anything. He's going to get to Owl when it's appropriate. And Heavyset's going to claim this base. You know, he's got the turrets to help him out there. But it's going to be hard for Heavyset to get anything else, man. And these other couple bases are basically Mishi's at this point. And Heavyset's going to grab this campfire in the bottom, which is a good move for sure. But damn, I mean, Mishi's got this 3rd and 4th base, you know, given to him basically. I want to see some owls, man, but instead Mishi's playing it better and going up to 8 falcons before any debauchery like owls. So okay. Alright. Mishi's just repositioning his army to where it needs to be. He can react to defend either of these bases. I would kind of like to see it a little more in the middle, but it's okay there. It's a pretty swift army. You know, Heavyset doesn't have a lot of options to attack out, and Heavyset's, you know, invested a lot of money in turrets here, which he doesn't really need. You know, in lower level plays, I kind of let that slide, but Heavyset and Mishi are both very great players, so I mean, yeah, you feel safe behind it, but Mishi doesn't have any plans to attack anytime soon. Really, Heavyset needs that money into an army. It needs to be hitting Mishi's face very, very hard before he's comfortable enough to get up to things like owls. And this is kind of what happens when you go really greedy with your army composition, right? Like, not having toads is allowing these lizards just to get so much done. And if you're not a big fan of toads, you can take lizards yourself, right? This looks very, like, scripted for Mishi, right? Like, you got 12, 12, 8, 4. Like, I don't know. Those numbers, it seems like a nice, like, rehearsed build order to me. Maybe it is, maybe it isn't, but it seems like everything's lining up very well. Let's see. If none of these falcons get supply blocked, I'm gonna say it's a fairly rehearsed build. That's what I'm curious about at this point. Yeah, so far no supply blocks. But this is gonna change it up though, because an attack is going down. Heavyset's got a nice, well-rounded army, and finally he's got the tools he needs for this big push I was talking about he needed to make, man. He can't just sit around and let Mishi get up 4 owls. Fantastic attack out of Heavyset. If you notice too, he did sell off all those turrets to help finance the reinforcements of this push, and now Heavyset's really broken Mishi's back. you know, trying to go for this crazy owl play. Mishi did sell off one of those owl warrens, but he's able to afford the other 3. I wonder if he's kind of got all his eggs in that basket at this point, because he's got no hope of tapping it, you know, of saving his main base. Heavyset just annihilating 3 of Mishi's bases here, so Mishi's got some units and he's got 3 owls. Is that all you need? We'll find out. A fantastic attack coming out from Heavyset. They're really punishing Mishi for trying to do this crazy owl, you know, composition. That's kind of always the litmus test, man. If I just throw good stuff at you, is that gonna, are you gonna be able to do it? Here we go. Let's see if Heavyset overextends. There's some pretty good turrets here out of Mishi on the high ground. The owl's out too, but Heavyset's just got so much stuff. If Mishi can play this slow, get in here and get enough mice built up, I don't know, man. I feel like if Heavyset would have pushed the issue there, it probably would have been fine, but for now he's going to back up, regroup. Man, this game is crazy. All the games tonight are super good, man. Now the three owls worth of mice are starting to make a difference here, but not enough. It looks like, oh, does that wolf go down? That's going to be huge. A wolf does get targeted down. That's going to delete a lot of value out of Heavyset's army. And Mishi's being very careful to keep all of these owls alive. And he might have enough here to hold. He's got to let these mice kind of pile up a little bit. They're kind of going in one by one, but he doesn't really have much else, right? So he doesn't have a whole lot of options. Damn, this is so clutch. If Heavyset was able to kill just even one of those owls, like that low owl, man, I think this would have been a totally different fight. But Heavyset still is looking good. I mean, these mice aren't coming out fast enough for Mishi here. And this just mass squirrel from Heavyset might be enough to take the game. Heavyset's still got an economy behind this. He's done economic damage. Mishi, the 2 HP owl. Oh! But Mishi's got a few squirrels now, and he's gonna barely be able to push Heavyset back. All those free mice, dude, for so long over the course of that engagement. Just racking up enough value to finally, you know, to the point of where they're not just dying right as they're spawning. And now Mishi with this owl counterattack, it's probably going to be all she wrote for Heavyset. That was such a close game, man. Like, if Heavyset's wolf didn't die, or if an owl died from Mishi, I think Heavyset would have won. Alright, take a sip of my drink here. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for tuning in, man. I appreciate it. Thanks for all the submissions I've gotten post-patch, giving me enough juice for the show. I do still need juice for the next show, though, guys, so don't be shy. I think I've only got a couple replays that were duplicates. I had this big stash of like 70 backlog replays that I just had to throw away because of new patch. It's always like a love-hate relationship with me when a new patch comes out, man, because I'm always excited for changes in the meta. It keeps the game fresh, you know, and slowly but surely Andy's kind of trying to get the balance hammered in right. So it's really cool to see, but then it's like, man, I had enough material to do shows for the next couple months, man, and now I'm back to scratch, so do submit me your replays, guys, at ToothAndTailTV@gmail.com. Give me plenty of juice for Thursday night's show. How we doing on time? Pretty good. About halfway done, a little over 9 o'clock, so I'm okay with that. Let's hop into game number 7 here. Pony Slay Station versus Nick. Spawning in the 1 o'clock is Pony Slay Station. And his opponent in the 8 o'clock, we've got Nick. Yeah, some people in the chat are saying you can't, yeah, you can totally what's the word I'm looking for? Like, recall the game back to previous, restore the game previous versions, right? And I used to do that when I first started the show. But I don't want it to be confusing for new viewers, and I think seeing replays of the latest patch is the most fun anyways, you know? But for a while I was doing that. I was like restoring back to like the old patch and trying to catch up on everybody. But man, I think it makes more sense. I think everybody agree if they think about it, like, might as well just do the new stuff. So again, we see this response that we saw earlier. I think it was like the first game where, you know, Nick scouted out his opponent was going very greedy, so he sold his safe warren and went for a little bit faster farms himself. And so far so good. I mean, we're basically mirror at this point. Both players have the owl. Nick's got a few more tier 2 options than Slaystation does. Slaystation's kind of got that like bread and butter army composition. You know, imagine if those pigeons were like lizards or toads. I think that's pretty meta, you know. And meanwhile, Nick is going for a mid-game army, at least a little bit more so than his opponent. He wants to experiment out with the barbed wire, which is cool, but he's got a lot of tier 2 options, man, and a variety in tier 2 is pretty strong, you know. You just get out a couple of each, and you have a nice wide range to your army composition, which normally helps, you know, makes you be a little more like a Swiss Army knife, good for any situation. So I'm interested to see if the barbed wire comes into play this game. Slaystation goes for it's a fast falcon. You know, I mean, I think if you're getting a tier 2 before like your first 3 or 4 warrens, that's fast. But it's not insane. You know, that's actually a pretty common build. You know, for example, like imagine you have squirrels or lizards, so you get like 2 tier 1 warrens, get out your chameleons, get a couple more tier 1 warrens, and then push out with like 12 squirrels, 2 chameleons for a strong attack. You know, timings like that are pretty normal, so nothing crazy, but it's not a super fast tier 2 either. I mean, I've seen guys, you know, if you want to get out a crazy fast tier 2, you still want to play a little bit of mind games, you know, like throw down a couple tier 1 warrens, let your opponent scout you, and sell one or both of them off and throw down the tier 2. It's always a good thing to do. But nothing really that crazy this game, I would say. You know, I mean, you can note Slaystation got the campfire and Nick got his tier 2, an additional tier 2, a little bit faster. But we're going to approach this mid-game with armies looking roughly the same. Nick doesn't have a campfire he can take himself. He needs to identify. Yeah, it looks like he just did. Yeah, so he sees that his opponent has a campfire, which is good to know. And I think a decent response to that is take an expansion and just put a couple farms on it. When you can't take a campfire yourself. Just to try to even out the income a little bit. Oh, but here we go. The Slaystation man going up to that owl. That's a reasonably fast owl. Nothing crazy. Not super fast, but again, fast, you know. I think like the appropriate time to get to a tier 3 is probably, you know, when you've got your second base and you've got a strong army. But that's a pretty good timing. I feel like Nick has seen enough army value out of his opponent where he's not going to just go in and try to overwhelm Slaystation before his tier 3 is out. But Slaystation is starting to move out on the map a little bit. He wants to get some poke damage done with this ferret, but he's kind of feigning here a little bit, right? Like he's trying to wrap up a lot of money into that owl. So if Nick kind of realizes, oh crap, I've got more stuff than you, and takes a hard engage here, he's going to call Slaystation's bluff, and I feel like Nick should take this engagement. Go fairly well. Yeah. If he can kill these ferrets, it's going to be a big deal. One goes down. You don't want to overextend with these falcons. Man, that was really just because Slaystation had, you know, put that money into the owl, so I'm glad Nick realized that and was able to get on top of it. And that's one thing you gotta be careful about when you're going for a fast tier 3 is you don't want to push out on the map until that unit's done. But I think Slaystation was going for a little bit of a gambit there. He's trying to say to his opponent, hey man, you can't contest this, right? Like don't even think about it. But Nick called him out on it, took a really good engagement. And we're gonna get into the mid game here. Now the owl is out, which is gonna help Slaystation quite a bit. But Nick's got an advantage on the second base, and Nick should have just seen the owl right there, so he knows what's up. He does have owl himself, so he can take that. Man, that's such a cool barbed wire placement. Just right on the edge of that bridge. Yeah, just like, I don't know, man. I don't know what the deal is with barbed wire, if that is enough or if it isn't. But I do like this the sparsely used barbed wire, right? Like, he's not creating like an entire full line right there or anything. Just a couple, you know, here and there. Andy just released a new build during the show. Awesome. Well, I'm glad it's not going to desync my replays, right? What did he change? Wasn't there some bugs with the Artie cannon? I thought him and DJ Soak were trying to test something. Let me know in the chat. Alright. Nick's gonna try to do a runaround, it looks like, but he moves this whole army out of position. If Slay Station can get hip to that, he might be able to do something, but Nick changes his mind and is coming back. And Nick's got to get something done, man. He needs to get out an owl of his own, but he's going to take the engagement here, which I believe is going to favor Slay Station. He's doing a good job letting that owl tank some, too, in the front lines. And yeah, he just rolls over Nick's army here. He's got the mice to deal with the barbed wire, too. Oh, that's so brutal. He's just going to pull back for now, but... I mean, look at that army graph, man. Slay Station just looks such a good fight there. Like, just all those mice in the front tanking the damage, doing damage. They do quite a bit of damage, too, so... I'm not going to count Nick out, though, yet. I mean, that was real bad for him. But he's got the capability to get a third base here. And really, Slay Station's third base, I mean, they're going to have to fight over this area, right? Maybe they're both going to get 4, but Slay Station catching Nick way out of position. And just gets right on top of all of his structures. Gonna do a lot of damage here, and Nick really can't afford to be replacing those. You know, good indirect damage done by Slay Station there. Well, I guess it's direct damage. Yeah, because Nick doesn't have the money to replace that. And Nick even I'm gonna say he saved that 8th farm for a starvation farm, man, but I wouldn't worry about that when you've got a third base right here. I'd like to see Nick take that, man. He's really got to keep his economy going. He really needs to try to get out an owl. I feel like that's really all he's missing here, man. If he could manage to get out an owl and kind of stall his opponent. Yeah, he's got, like, I agree. Just, you know, forget about this area of the map. You know, don't worry about Squirrel Warrens too much right now. He really needs to get out an owl himself and keep his economy going. And maybe this barbed wire can, you know, dissuade Slay Station long enough to get something out. But Slay Station... he's not messing around, man. He's got owl number 2 on the way. He's got his third base up and running. And as this game progresses, man, you gotta get that owl down. I know it's difficult, but... I feel like if... Slay Station is just gonna get so much momentum, man. He's getting up to that 3 magic number of owls where you just have enough, like to just dominate people. And, you know, think about all this time that's passed since that last engagement. You know, it's been a few minutes now, so Nick could have got an owl out by now. Just a little bit of damage there from the mice, not too big of a deal, but hey, that's still free money, man, and Slay Station just getting more and more ahead. Man, I gotta keep up. Oh, okay, cool. Somebody linked it. Thanks. Let me, sorry guys. Let me load that up real quick. Ooh, a little hot fix. Some mole nerfs. And it looks like some changes to AoE. And Fox. Interesting. Oh, so Fox is still the same, but a little bit of animation tweak. Man, so really just deciding to nerf the moles, huh? Interesting. Yeah, I should, since I haven't logged out, I don't know how that works, but I think we'll be fine if we do see moles in the next couple games, because I don't think the patch is applied to me. I could be wrong. Nick, man, you got so much. You're giving me an aneurysm over here, dude. You gotta build some owls. He's got the money for it. That's all he's missing. If he had owls, he would be going toe-to-toe with Slay Station here, but Slay Station's just getting more and more ahead, man, and he's getting up to that magic number of 3 owls. Like, I like to see the economy coming out from Nick, but all he needs is that juicy tier 3, man. He's doing a good job recycling his barbed wire. But that's gotta be what this game is gonna come down to, right? Like, just the overtime value of the Owls. You're gonna speed up a little bit here as both players are kind of chilling out for the moment. Look at all those mice, man! That's only 2 Owls. Nick does have a nice little barbed wire funnel here. Ah, so much barbed wire. Oh, man. Those ferrets, though. Oh, gonna get punished. And barbed wire doesn't matter against the Falcons, though. And with the Owls there to tank some of the shots from Nick's Falcons, it's gonna be rough, man. Yeah, Nick is a new player, they're saying, which makes sense, but that's the only, like, he would have been doing such a good job here, and he's still done a great job hanging on. Don't get me wrong, but if you are watching Nick, man, that is the only critique, because you could have got the Owls out at a couple points, but it is hard to tell, man. It is a really big risk when you take Owls, so you never know, man. Throwing down any tier 3 is scary for sure, because you're wrapping up 360 food into tech that's not going to be directly benefiting you for 100 seconds, right? So, but at this point, man, I mean, PlayStation's got a lot of free units, and that barbed wire is going to slow them down for a little while. Man, I keep calling every single game wrong tonight, though. Like, watch Nick win this somehow. We're getting a little stalematey. I do like the effort from PlayStation here. Just trying to poke and prod with these ferrets the best he can. Trying to get some damage done. But yeah, just sick. Oh, now, okay, Nick. All right, Nick, I believe. He's got the Owl coming down now. He's trying to decide if he could fit out too. If PlayStation doesn't move out and gives Nick an opportunity to get these couple Owls out, man, he could still be in this for sure. That's all he needs, man. But the ferret harass is pretty consistent here for PlayStation, and Nick is doing great responding with his Falcon Micro, but the ferrets are just getting value over time. Looks like one. Ah, almost. All right, Nick. All right, Nick's got 3 Owls on the way. Okay. And he's got a lot of Falcons too, man. And this is a really defensible position here. Now, Nick did not make a starvation farm, I don't believe. Oh, actually, no, he did. He did save that northern farm on that last base for that very purpose. But oh no! These ferrets are getting a lot of damage under this gristmill. Oh, is it gonna go down? Barely. Nick is barely in time to save it. He's got 1 Owl out. He's got a couple more supply blocked at this point, but he's going to take the engagement. Get up here. That's a lot of Falcons. And these mice are just kind of running onto this barbed wire, which is pretty funny. They're, I guess they need a tile to live on, though, so. The Slay Station is just going to take the game from there. But very good, valiant effort out of Nick, man. He just needed those Owls a little bit earlier, and he would have been in that. So. Alright, guys. Yeah, the barbed wire is not cost effective against the Owls, but it can buy you time. What was the meta, like, early October, I want to say, where I was going Fox against a lot of Owl players. Owl was super, super meta. And, dude, I would literally build just stupid numbers of turrets. And, like, if you can get up to, a critical mass of turrets, like 10 turrets, they can actually trade pretty cost effectively against the Owl. Once all the mice comes in, usually only like 1 turret dies, which, I mean, obviously the Owl is still getting the better trade there, but you're not taking much damage. What is up, everybody? How's it going? Thanks everybody for tuning in. So, not a whole lot of announcements. I don't know if Strawberry has told a lot of people yet, but I think he said he's not going to be able to do the tournament due to work at the end of the month, so I'm not sure what the next upcoming event is at this point. But you may have noticed I did activate subscriptions and bits on this channel, and what I want to do with that is start funding cash prize Tooth and Tail tournaments. So the first time I get a paycheck from Twitch, I think you got to make $100. I don't if that ever happens. I'm gonna throw all $100 right into a Tooth and Tail tournament with $100 in the prize pool. So I'm hyped for that, man. That'd be cool to see. I was trying to figure out how to do that, man, because it's kind of like a community show, yeah. You know what I mean? I don't really want to monetize it, but it does take my time up, so it is kind of cool. I get a free sandwich out of it every now and then, but vast majority of any bits or subscription money that you guys give to this channel are gonna go to funding tournaments, and I'm not sure how I'm gonna do that. I might just take one of the great organizers we have in the community, like Banner Bastion or Josh, and just say, hey man, here's some prize money, or I might try to do it myself, or maybe try to recruit a TnTTV tournament organizer if anyone's interested. Let me know. Always excited. It's just me here now, guys. I did have a partner back in the day, Icebox, but he had a kid and had to drop out, and I got Cyborg hopped on a few weeks ago. He's trying to get together Wednesday night shows. I believe it should be on track for tomorrow, maybe not, if his schedule permits, so that's really cool, man. But alright, guys, let's hop into game number 8, and then after that I might take a brief break to use the restroom, but let's do game number 8 first. Okay, spawning in the bottom right, we've got Premium Bow and Furmar. Up to no good, as normal. Look at this. Are they gonna double mole rush some nerds? Neither one of them cute farms. In the blue and yellow, their opponents, Ramako and Hero Smasher. Oh, Premium Bow with the proxy mines. Okay. Furmar, mole number 1 going down. I predict a mole from Premium Bow here shortly. Looks like Furmar is going to wait for that 2 moles. No, just throwing down a couple more devious mines to his opponent. So, I mean, I love Premium Bow and Furmar games, man. They always come up with some cool ideas, but Furmar going in here to Ramako, or to Hero Smasher, and just dominating him with a couple moles. I think Hero Smasher is probably a new player, was floating a lot of money at the beginning trying to get his bearings. What's going on in Tooth and Tail? Maybe I'll play a 2v2, try to figure it out, and then Furmar, being a mean nerd, just bops him with a couple moles there. It kills a couple farms, so it's really going to slow down Hero Smasher for sure, but depending on his bro Ramako here, we know Ramako's experienced, and that's the most effective thing you can do, but the real story here is this proxy Gristmill Premium Bow took, and now he's starting to do a hard contain onto Ramako already. And meanwhile, Furmar is not letting up with these moles, man. He's sneaking one all the way around the turret of his opponent to try to probably take out that Warren. He's got a couple different battles going on here at once. Let's see how these guys can juggle everything. Premium Bow's got a mole. It's just chilling at the moment, though. And those turrets look like they're in range to deny those farms, man. So that is very brutal for Ramako. Unable to get any more of economy, but the silver lining for blue and yellow here is that Premium Bow and Furmar are both still sitting on 4 farms themselves, so they don't have much of an economy, but yeah, Premium Bow is like, I'm not going to go home, I'll just build some farms here or whatever. I mean, he's kind of all in already with this, right? So it's like, why does it matter? If that base goes down, he's probably not going to win. So, targeting this turret is Furmar here. He did manage to go home at one point and throw down a couple Squirrel Warrens and just really bringing the aggression to his opponent. Ramako helps his buddy out, but meanwhile, Premium Bow, trying to snipe a Gristmill with 4 moles, manages to get out in time without losing any of them, so that's going to help him out. Yeah, what a crazy game. Meanwhile, Ramako's up to no good down here. Man, that is such a cool play, dude. Like, it's probably going to be a while until Furmar scouts that, just because this awkward ramp path out of his base, he's not really got an incentive to go over here unless he was looking to expand. And I like it, man. Ramako's like, you know what, I'm going to take a ton of farms off this. If he can get away with that, it could put him in good shape. But Hero Smasher and Ramako don't have anything to deal with this contain, man. They don't have ferrets, They don't have something like a balloon. And any kind of high ground vision is going to be a tall order here. I mean, the best they can do is pigeons, but even that's hard to deal with. And Hero Smasher is taking a lot of damage this game. I do want to emphasize that. He's starting to play better now, but you know he's gonna be a while until he can really help out Ramako. And Premium Bow and Firmar are more and more getting this foothold really established, but the story here is the secret base from Ramako, man. If that does not get scouted out, Ramako is going to be able to muster up a very large army. You know, especially because his opponents just think he's only on a few farms here, right? Oh, yeah, somebody asked if there's a term for a secret expansion. Yeah, normally hidden base is what we coin it as, but this is where it gets brutal, man. Premium Bow's got this impenetrable front line, and now he's got the ferrets to back it up, and Ramako's suicides a bunch of squirrels into those turrets, and not a single turret goes down, man. And that's just gonna knock out that Gristmill completely, and Premium Bow and Firmar gotta know something's fishy now, because they expected Ramako to die right there, right? But he's still in the game, so either way, it doesn't matter too much. I mean, Premium Bow's economy's fantastic. He's got a great spot, and Firmar's been keeping a lot of aggression on all game long, and looks like Ramako's wanting to use his economy to keep his ally alive. But Firmar's a little too hip here to it. He's gonna get on top of these balloons before they're able to finish. And poor Hero Smasher, dude. This game has been absolutely brutal for him. He was trying to do a sneaky chameleon run by, but right when he was going to come in and try to get some value, all those pigs die from natural causes anyways. So doesn't have anything to defend his base. Those chameleons probably actually would have been enough to hold this attack back, and those poor last couple turrets are not in range. And taking out that Gristmill doesn't really matter at this point, unfortunately. And are they? Okay. Yeah, they see Ramako now. Like, they see it on the minimap at least. Are they cognitive of it? I'm not so sure, but they do know Ramako's got a base in the southern corner. And Firmar is just going to keep this pressure on. And, going to put Hero Smasher down to starving. Doesn't get knocked out because he's got this Gristmill in the bottom. But poor Hero Smasher, man, he has been holding on to dear life all game long. And Firmar and Premium Bow just look like they're in a dominating position at this point. I like how yellow and blue kind of reset to these unnatural bases for them. But the jig's up for Hero Smasher. Chameleons get some good last stand, but not going to be enough. And Premium Bow's forces are going to easily be enough to be able to run that over. But Premium Bow is not committing everything over there. He wants to get these lizards in position to run up on these balloons, but these last balloons, man, might keep Ramako in the game for a little while longer, but he's in a 1v2 situation and only on one base. And I don't mind this from Premium Bow, just kind of stepping back, you know, getting even more of an economy. You know, why fumble when you're so far ahead? And, it's going to be difficult for Ramako here, man. I like how Firmar had to take Ramako's natural base, or beginning base, rather. But it's basically mined out, too. Alright, let's see these guys break this balloon. Uh-oh, Ramako, man. Last-ditch effort. He's got the balloons. He's trying to get out 2 owls. 2 owls is pretty good, but so is a lot of moles here. That is a lot of moles, my man. Premium Bow sold off everything else. How many is it total? Like 30? 30 moles? Alright, let's do it. DJ Soak's army has arrived, and the moles are going to come in. Target fire this Gristmill, and that's going to be it. 30 moles to seal the deal. Yeah, what, 30 times 60, so what is that, 18 hundo? It's quite a bit of money. Alright guys, I'm going to take a very fast break. I will be back in just a couple minutes. Okay, what is up, guys? I am back. Sorry about that, I am indeed a human being. Okay. Let's keep it rolling, man. Got 20 more minutes. Want to get through a few more. Might times two a little bit during some of these games. But let's get into game number 9 here. Alright, spawning in the 12 o'clock position, we've got Blackmore Crest. And in the 5 o'clock, his opponent, Sheer. Alright, so nothing crazy. I mean, Sheer has the moles. Was thinking about maybe going for a mole rush, it looked like, but then decided, I'll just throw down some farms. No big deal. We'll have to see if he sells them off and does a little bit of a delayed rush, but it might depend on what he sees here. Yeah, he sees Blackmore being pretty greedy. So, yeah, it looked like he was trying to position his commander to maybe throw down a mole or two eventually, but Blackmore's staying on top of him, and Sheer's just going to match greed with greed, so we are going to go into the early to mid game just fine. Both players going for 8 farm openings, so they're going to be neck and neck in this game. We'll have to see what their decisions are from there. It looks like Crest could get a fast wolf if he really wanted to. He's got this nice like one opening base that you kind of need to go for a fast tier 3. But we really haven't seen that at all tonight. Maybe that 10-second nerf to the timing is enough. But Crest doesn't have a good expansion. And meanwhile, Sheer has got 2. He's got a nice natural base up here, and he's got a nice pocket. So Sheer's living large if this approaches the mid-game. Meanwhile, Crest does have that quick campfire, so he could go up to a 9-farm economy versus 8. But, you know, he's going to have to try to get these 2 bases, which if Blackmore Crest can secure the west side of this map, it will put him on even footings economically. It'll actually put him at a little bit of an advantage with the 2 campfires, but that is a tall order to make, man. And what I always try to emphasize is really it's all about that natural expansion. Like, do you have a second base that you can easily take? And if that's yes, then it's not super unfavorable for you. But it always feels rough when you're in situations like this where the first expansion you're going to take is going to be difficult to defend. But you never know, man. I mean, Crest could defend it well if he gets a nice choke point. What he's got to do is really try to get a lot of map position here, which Sheer is already opting for an early investment in with that balloon and with this natural base. And I think that's almost always the right move to make, is take the natural before the pocket, because that pocket's just sitting there all game long. You can take it whenever you want. You know, hell, Sheer might even try to secure this to prevent Crest from taking it, and then he knows, okay, I can fall back on that last gristmill whenever I feel like it. But Crest is going to get up to a nice army composition, yeah, with a couple more toads here. And if Sheer didn't overcommit to lizards, and he's getting up some skunks, so I don't know, this could be okay for him. I mean, he's got to micro well with the lizards and not let those toads blow up on him. He doesn't have squirrels, but he does have his own toads that he could try to detonate on the toads of his opponent, which would be a good play, so. Alright, we'll times 2 a little bit here, guys. As the game progresses, Sheer is getting the economic lead, and he does go to a boar very quickly. And Crest has got a very big tier 1 army here with a couple falcons to support it. He's going to move into defending this campfire, but really I wouldn't mind an attack coming out from him shortly. I mean, Sheer's invested a lot of money in a couple different risks here. I mean, he took a risk by taking an early expansion, then he also took a risk by taking a boar. So that's 2 risks, man. And as you can see, you know, Crest's army is pound for pound very strong at the moment. But those skunks are going to give Sheer a good, very beautiful snipe on that balloon, by the way. Skunks are going to make this a lot easier to defend for Sheer, because skunks do very well against squirrels, right? Now, is Blackmore Crest aware? He's got to be aware of the second base, yeah. Yeah, he's got to try, man. I don't think this second base is out of the question for him, but it's going to be difficult. You know, if Sheer wants to abuse it, especially with lizards, man, he can do a little lizard run by, you know, and go hit that. Meanwhile, keep the bulk of his army with the balloons. But here we go. Yeah, this is what I was talking about, man. Crest has a strong army right now since Sheer took so many risks. And Crest might be able to just run over him right here, right now. He's got to be careful with these toads. Yeah, he doesn't want to let them detonate onto the buildings. He does a little bit there, but not the biggest deal in the world. And now Blackmore Crest has secured this high ground. And he's gonna push the issue. He might be overextending here a little bit with those skunks. Yeah, that's what's always rough, man. Like, Blackmore Crest was in such a good spot. He should have just backed out after taking that second base, but it's so easy to make that mistake, man. Like, I do it all the time. Because you feel like, alright, I just kicked his ass in that fight. I am gonna go and just roll over his base, and you'd be surprised, man. It's not the case 9 times out of 10, and the skunks certainly got a ton of work done. But now the boar is out here as well, so just so much AoE coming down for Sheer. He did have to sell off those skunks, which I think was a good decision. And Crest is going to back out for now. I'd like to see him saturate this base up a little bit, sell off a couple of these Warrens. Like, that is, I'm telling you, man, like, if there's one tip I can instill into your brain, like, that is really what can separate players into different tiers, man. Like, just sell off, like, 2 or 3 of those tier 1 Warrens. You're still going to have plenty of squirrels, but you'll actually be able to produce them, you know? Like, right now, so much money is floating there, and I don't mean to pick on Blackmore Crest specifically, but I see it as a mistake a lot of people make, man. And I think that's where a lot of the nuance comes into the game. It's like, all right, after that big first engagement, I got to decide how I'm going to downsize my army. I mean, if Crest would have done so, he would have so many units right now, and he could have prioritized making the Falcons, which are obviously going to be fantastic against Uncle Butters, but Blackmore Crest is still in good shape here. He's got a second base up, and Sheer does as well. A little bit slipped underneath me for a second there, but that puts Sheer in a much better position than I thought he was, since he does have a second base after his other attempt got thwarted. Yeah, incomes are both really low right now, and overall, I feel like Blackmore is playing this out correctly. He's just got to sell off a couple of these Warrens, man. Let's see what he decides to sell off. Yeah, there he goes. Now he started just one, but hey, it's better than nothing. Yeah, the goal after the big first engagement where you guys trade armies, and it makes sense, right? Because up to that first engagement, you know, you're building up all game long to finance this massive army, right? And then once you guys trade, you're not going to generate the same amount of money, you know, within the last couple of minutes that you did the entire game, right? So you got to go in and sell off a couple Warrens. You see Sheer's been doing that pretty effectively here. He sold off a lot of stuff he didn't need. But he's also going pretty greedy, man. He's putting a lot of his eggs in this Uncle Butters basket here. And he went really hardcore on this farm, which is a good risk to take, you know, when you're behind. Just see, okay, well, if he doesn't attack me for a little while, I could get an economy up. He played me with the one sell-off, right? Yeah, man. Yeah, so finally this army is starting to muster back up for Blackmore Crest. And yeah, I can times 2 a little bit. We are running out of time here. But here we go, big engagement coming down. Sheer's got a good angle here. But Crest has got the numbers and just rolls over the rest of the army. That's a pretty good choke for Uncle Butters to deal damage to. I would have went a little harder on those squirrels, man. I actually think Uncle Butters probably could have roasted all of them there. They're all kind of grouped up. Yeah, there he goes, man. Really, the only thing he's got to worry about is that Falcon. But Blackmore Crest is gaining more and more map position here, and now he's claimed the area where Sheer's main base once was. He's got to back up and reposition. But that Falcon should... he's got to try to zone that Uncle Butters with the Falcon, I feel like. Hey, he's got to back out for now and wait for his army to rebuild. We're going to go to times 2. Yeah, I mean, the positive, on a positive note for Sheer in that engagement, the Uncle Butters did stay alive. Sheer's playing very, you know, as bled down as he can, man. Just trying to get away with it with a couple high-value units, right? Like an Uncle Butters and some Lizards to tank. That Uncle Butters has done wonders this game for him. But look at Blackmore Crest's army. He's finally able to get up to the resupply with all those Warrens. And now he's ready to move out, man. He's got a healthy economy behind it. I feel like this is going to be hard for Sheer. He's only got a couple things left to help him defend. And really, Shear's big mistake this game was he took 2 large risks in the early game. But look at that choke! All the skunk acid, the AoE from the boar just decimates the army of Blackmore. Oh my god! That's why you can't just A-move, you know? Like, oh, that choke was so good for the skunks on the board. Jeez, man. And that's gonna give Shear an opportunity to claw his way back into this game. He's moving out for engagement. He's gotta be careful not to lose these important units, the skunks and the boars. God, that was so awesome. I can't believe that. I thought for sure Blackmore was gonna take it there, but he fumbled that engagement a little bit, man. You can't let everything choke up. It's really about concave versus convex. You know, whoever's got more surface area, especially against heavy AoE units like skunks and boars. And now Shear feels confident enough to try to reclaim this base over here. Meanwhile, Blackmore is taking a third of his own. But again, man, he's just got so many squirrels. Like, he really needed a tech switch here. You know, if he would have went down to like 9 squirrels and a whole bunch more falcons, he'd be in great shape. I mean, skunks and boars are fantastic against squirrels, but don't do so well against falcons, right? You know, Blackmore is really just trying to muscle through, and again takes a terrible engagement through that choke, man. Fool me once, shame on me. No, fool me once, shame on you. Oh god, did I just pull a George Bush? But here we go. Shear coming in with the momentum. That turret getting a lot of work done to the skunks, but the army of Blackmore getting deleted. Shear's gonna run around that turret. That one hero falcon, though, is just doing so much damage. Finally, the lizards target it. And Shear might have his boar in the right position here. He's done a fantastic job keeping this boar alive all game long. It's just got to hold out a little longer. Gets the gristmill, should be able to clean up the rest of the units there. They just got to really be careful around these turrets. Oh! Oh! Hero boar lives to tell the tale. 7 HP on the board, keeps it alive. Yeah, and again, man, like, my big tip for Blackmore is just sell your warrens, man. You're not going to be able to rebuild 24 squirrels on 2 farms. And likewise for Shear. I mean, Shear should really be selling off a skunk warren at this point, too. I don't want to hark on these guys too bad. The only reason I keep bringing it up is because I think it's a really important lesson for you guys to take away next time you're on the ladder, man. It's really all about downsizing the later the game gets, when it's super scrappy. Beautiful micro out of the board, staying alive, but finally dies. Takes a bunch of units with it, though. Now Shear can just sell off that warren. That board definitely did its job this game. And he's got a good economy here with that third base. Man, we got some long games tonight. We're going up on the 15-minute mark here. But I believe at this point, Shear should be able to take it, right? Let's see. Yeah, Blackmore doesn't really have any options for another base, really. That fourth was really the last one available to him. He doesn't have any money. And Shear is just going to try to start picking his opponent apart here. Oh, barely doesn't get that campfire. And that's going to be it. Wizlock asks, what would you do with the food gained from selling the warrens? Basically, what happens is your units automatically repopulate up to a certain amount per warren, right? So, in the initial fight, you're gonna have a lot of time to build up a very big army, and then you guys are gonna go in and clash heads and trade armies, right? And then, if you think about it, you know, there's no way you're gonna be able to re-afford that same army that you had before it in just a couple, because after that big first fight, what's super important is the follow-up attack and who's going to be able to execute it. You know, most of the time, the game isn't decided in the first engagement. It's really that follow-up engagement that's super important. So the player who decided to go back and sell off some warrens is going to be able to repopulate the rest of his army with the warrens that he did not sell, you know. So you got like 24 squirrels, you know, being built out of 8 warrens, you know, and you do the fight, and then, okay, you're not going to be able to build 24 squirrels again, so you sell off half those warrens and rebuild 12, for example. Okay, guys, 9:55, and, yeah, I know, man. My brain is a little off tonight, I apologize, guys. Let's get into match number 10 here. Another 2v2. Reafford's probably not a word, is it? I'm supposed to be smart, man. I'm college educated. I guess I slept through my classes too much, but... Alright, in the right side, we've got Hero Smasher and Shao 2. Trying again. I don't think they're on the same team. Oh, but here we go. We got Hero Molar and Villain Molar. I'd like to see some moles out of these guys, obviously. Where is it? Yeah, they're both building moles. How come I do not see them? They gotta be here somewhere. Oh, there they are. Okay. So we got Hero Molar and Villain Molar here, but the molars themselves are getting molded by their opponents. I actually think I missed one earlier. Yeah. And, yeah, because that pig's already damaged. So we got moles going on all over the map here, and Hero Smasher is going for 4-farm double toad. What is this game, dude? Are you serious? Alright, Hero Molar. Let's see if his moles are heroes. Oh, and Villain Molar taking the proxy gristmill, maybe throw down a turret. That is a very villainy move, right? Doing a proxy turret rush. Seems like something bad guys do. Let's see how the toads do against these moles. Yeah, here we go, man. Plenty of moles to back this up. The toads trying to come in, but oh, they're gonna blow up on the gristmill. Gotta be careful not to let that happen. But here we go, a ton of moles and a couple turrets to boot. And the molars themselves are gonna come in and just bop Shalto out of the game. Oh, Hero Molar is Fermar. Oh god, I got clipped pulling a George Bush. Oh man, was that Premium Bow and Fermar? I bet it was. That was great. Thank you for the short replay. We've had some long ones tonight, man. God, what a silly game. Yeah. Yeah, makes sense. I like the mystery too, though. You never knew. Who is Hero Molar and Villain Molar? Could have kept it going. Alright. Let's hop into game number 11 here, guys. We got Boofy versus Sundance Cassidy. That was very brutal, man. That was just mean. Alright, in the 3 o'clock, we've got Boofy. And his opponent in the 9 o'clock, Sundance Cassidy. Sundance Kid. Alright. Let's see what's going on in this game. No moles from either player. Boofy trying out the new Arty Cannon here. Let's see how that works for him. He does have the owl. You know, both these guys have that kind of like intended quote-unquote deck split, you know. Couple tier 1, couple tier 2, a tier 3, and a defensive structure. So nobody's in this position where it's like they gotta get something crazy done in the mid game. Both players have the capability to scale in the late game. You know, Falcon, Badger, Pigeon is fine, and Falcon Owl is certainly great. So, see what these guys decide to do. Sundance Cassidy, though, what are you up to? He's taking this farm. He's holding his money for something. Campfire, and makes a bunch of proxy lizards. Let's see if he's gonna get it done. Boofy does see it, so let's see how Boofy responds. He's gonna get in time to start harassing, but I believe the lizards should be out in time, so his squirrels do not just go ahead and take that warren out. Ooh, that second squirrel gets there just in time, though. to help keep the first squirrel alive. So Boofy takes a slight lead. 20 foods, not much, but the real story here is that Boofy has a very healthy economy, where Sundance Cassidy just has 5 farms, you know, including the campfire. He's trying to set up this contain. He's getting a lot of lizards, but as long as Boofy just chills and doesn't overreact, he should be fine. You know, if he can catch a lizard or two out in the wild, that'd be great. Yeah, this is not going to be good for him, man. Sundance is going to win this fight very handily. You know, lizards already do well against squirrels, but with the turret there to boot, pretty straightforward victory for Sundance so far. But again, man, the real story is the economy. As long as Boofy can hold on, you know, Sundance is still quote-unquote all in with this because he hasn't made any more farms. Looks like he's trying to go back to his base and do just that. And if this doesn't just kind of eliminate Boofy, it's going to be hard to defend this later on. Well, I guess if Boofy can't break this position, which he doesn't have ferrets or anything, so it's going to be difficult, Sundance can split the map pretty favorably. It was smart to just leave his lizards back for now, kind of get a lay, try to figure out what his opponent's doing, but Boofy's going to engage into these lizards, and if I was Sundance, I would have jumped all over those squirrels, man. Could have taken that pretty favorably. Boofy's superior economy is starting to kick in now. He's able to get up some tier 2 units, and the first drumfire of the night is going to go down for that reduced cost of 120 food. And Boofy should feel pretty great from this spot. I mean, he's got a good lead. He's going for a 1-base owl. Let's see if it works for him. Sundance has got to be careful. Those lizards are good against those skunks, but not good against the drumfire. And oh, gets baited into the drumfire. And just gets wrecked upon, losing every single lizard in that engagement. And Boofy not losing a whole lot. Looks like he lost a skunk and a few squirrels. And Boofy's living large at this point, man. He even saved up enough to be able to afford the owl right when he can. And that's really going to be his answer to this contain. You know, just let those free mice come out and chip away at that turret before coming in and sealing the deal. Sundance is going to try again here. Can't break it, though. He's got to realize that drumfire is enough. And Sundance has really got to start thinking about a second base. He's got to start thinking about transitioning out of this early setup here, man. And it feels rough because he's committed. He's built so much stuff here. You know, he would have to either just sell like all of this and rebuild it at home and cross his fingers that Boofy doesn't move out and kill him, you know, in the meantime. Or he's got to stand strong here. And is Sundance aware of the tier 3? He is. He saw the Warren. I'm not so sure if he's seen the owl at this point. He probably has. He's been scouting pretty regularly. And yeah, he's getting that second base, which makes sense. All Boofy's got to do is hang on, man. I feel like Boofy's in a great spot. He's got a lot of tech to his army. You know, Sundance really can't get a ton of value out of these lizards anymore. But Sundance can come back if he manages to saturate that second base very quickly and Boofy takes his time, perhaps. This is going to be difficult any way you slice it for him, man. And here we go. Boofy decides he's got enough. And he's going to move in and, yeah, just decimate this front position. Sundance doesn't even contest. And Boofy's going to back out, not losing a single unit and just doing devastating damage to his opponent. And it looks like Sundance is just kind of scratching his head a little too long, man. He's not so sure exactly what to do this game. And Boofy starting to smell weakness here and is going to push in and knock out the second base from his opponent. Sundance is going to go for the counterattack. Takes the campfire so he doesn't get eliminated from the base race. Boofy is not aware of the gristmill in the north, but Drumfire is going to do some work to these lizards over time. Not as much as it once did, but it is cheaper now. Oh my god, does Sundance No. Okay, Boofy took a Gristmill. So he's not going to get knocked out immediately. Oh, wait, he does? Oh, it wasn't finished building. And Sundance does win the game. Wow. Props, man. I love when stuff like that happens. Yeah, so Boofy did take that other Gristmill, which would have prevented him from being knocked out, but it wasn't finished yet. I can't believe Sundance won there. Alright guys, we got one more game for tonight. It's gonna be a good one, man. We got Valeris versus Mishi. Let's get into it. Okay, spawning in the 6 o'clock, we've got Valeris. And his opponent in the 2 o'clock, Mishi. Okay, so Mishi playing a little greedy here. Not just taking squirrels, you know, which can be risky. If your opponent has lizards, it's going to put them in a really good spot. But Mishi's an experienced player and thinks he can get away with it, so we'll have to see how he deals with it this game. And Valeris does have those lizards now, so really when you got the lizards, you kind of just want to build lizards, right, until you see toads, basically. I mean, they're going to go pound for pound with the squirrels. I think there's like a critical mass. Like, you don't want to get too many lizards unless you want to have that base race potential, which can win games, as we saw last round. You know, because eventually you'll get into an issue where the squirrels will just have better range. But yeah, I mean, Valeris has no incentive to not build up a healthy 12-15 lizard count here, and see if Mishi can do anything about it. So Mishi, on the other hand, you know, is going for this macro style play again. He's got the ferrets to poke on the outskirts of his army and out in the outskirts of his position. And then he's got that Falcon Owl late game, you know, bread and butter comp. And the Drumfire and the mines out of Mishi are probably just Mishi playing with the new balance changes, seeing if these are good units or maybe the turret's better. Like, he had to drop the lizards basically to fit in both defensive structures, right? So see if it works out for him. But Valeris not opting for the lizards, instead going for squirrels, which is a shame, man. Those lizards would have got a lot done this game. And it looks like Valeris wants to take a quick owl and macro up, and I love this Drumfire. This is a great example. What I always talk about, you want to make sure your defensive structures do multiple things for you, and this one Drumfire cannon is going to defend all three of these bases very well. So Valeris got to be happy about that. And meanwhile, Mishi, RNG on bases on this map's not so good. I mean, he's got this natural base, but it's a little forward, right? So Mishi's gonna have to muscle for this position in the middle high ground to be able to even take that natural base. If Mishi ever loses control of this ground, which he's fighting for right now with this ferret, you know, that the natural base would be going down pretty quickly after it. I like this mine too, trying to maybe bait, you know, these squirrels from chasing the ferret too far. Oh, Mishi losing the ferret. That is brutal. That mine gets a great connection off, but Mishi's going really hard all in on this Drumfire, man. He knows if that gets up, that's going to be all she wrote for this high ground position, which he desperately needs to even take a second base. Meanwhile, Valeris is moving strong. I mean, his big risk this game was the Gristmill, but he backed that up with a Drumfire cannon, and he taken a lot of tier 1. You know, he didn't do anything crazy like take that early expansion and try to go up for a fast owl. But now we got micro wars afoot, you know. If these ferrets are micro very well, they can take that Drumfire cannon down, but it's easier said than done, and it takes a lot of your focus, and, you know, your macro can slip on the back end, and things of that nature, so gotta be careful. So, I looked away for 1 second, those mines go off. Damn it, man. Looks like they took out a couple lizards, though, because a lot are being remade, and Mishi's got to be careful. Yeah, Valeris did eventually identify no toads in this composition, so gets up a healthy amount of lizards. And I think this is the right play for Mishi, man. He's got to keep the pressure on Valeris to even think about securing these other two bases. I mean, it's really on Mishi to get something done this game. Valeris can just sit back, you know, happy, fat as a cat, and with these nice 3 bases, Good micro coming out of Mishi here on these ferrets. Let's see. Oh, he does get a warrant. Doesn't quite get that drum fire yet, but he's working on it. And, oh, very close. Oh, ferret does go down. And Valerius is holding on very well. I'd like to see him move his chameleons up a little bit and try to catch those ferrets, but damn, the last ferret just at 1 HP. Valerius gonna hard engage here. That drumfire cannon is still shooting down upon Mishi and getting a lot of value done, man. You guys that are not believers in the drumfire cannon, it looks like it's doing pretty good this game. But yeah, I have no idea if it's good or not with the changes. I do like that it's 120 food. I think 180 food in a defensive structure is really hard to warrant, so now it's just as expensive as a balloon, and balloons see a lot of play, right? So she's getting up that strong Falcon count, but he doesn't have any bread and butter boots on the ground type units, man. He cut back on his tier 1, and Valerius has a lot of tier 1, but if Mishi's able to get these drumfire cannons up, that'll make up for it, so that's probably his plan. Those mines go off doing a lot of damage, but don't kill out the lizards outright. And Valerius is going to go in there, deny those 2 cannons from getting up and back out, regroup, and probably try to push again. He's got a good economic lead. He did for a while, actually, but it looks like Mishi will even that out here shortly once these farms for him are done. Yeah, the campfire definitely did help Mishi out for sure. Okay, coming back in for round number 2 here is Valerius. He's going to be able to get on top of Mishi's very tech-heavy tier 1 light composition, and I think that's going to be all she wrote as the last and remaining tier 2 fall for Mishi. Alright guys, we did it! Another successful Tooth and Tail TV show. Sorry, a couple brain farts tonight, man. I guess I'm just tired, but I gotta check up on what the next tournaments are. Don't forget, I do have a YouTube channel. I try to put my videos up there. I will be back on Thursday night, 8 p.m. EST. I did set up the subscriptions and the bit thing, and I'm not gonna really comment on it a whole lot. But if I do get $100, which I think is what you need for Twitch to actually give you any money, like anything you make less than 100, they hold on to. So if people do subscribe and donate with bits or whatever, and I make $100, I'm gonna throw that $100 right into a Tooth and Tail tournament with a $100 prize pool. Is my idea. So that would be really cool to see. If not, no big deal. You know, the big support I need is just people tuning in and submitting me replays, guys. So make sure I got a lot of juice for the Thursday night show. And I think that is going to be it for me tonight. Let's see who is on the Tooth and Tails right now. Yeah, I thought that was a good way to use sub money, right? Like, try to make a prize pool. Nobody is streaming right now, unfortunately, so I'm going to go give the host over to my wife, who's playing some retro games. So let's go say hi to her, and I'll see all you lovely nerds back here on Thursday night. Take care, everybody.